Solutions. I am Payable, working as Oracle Fusion Functional Consultant. So in our last webinar series, we have seen how to configure the GL configurations in the application according to the client's requirement. And with today's webinar, we will start with configuring the AP setups in the application. First, we will move to our client's requirement document and we'll see what are the business unit details, and we will configure the basic setup for the accounts payable in the application today. So our client Aeronet Group have two business units. One is in the Bhopal, that is in Madhya Pradesh, India. It is operating its business from the Bhopal location from India, and in the US it is operating its business from the New York location. So in the application we will configure the business unit according to this detail, and these are the basic setups that are required in the accounts payable module in the Oracle Fusion. So we will configure all these setups that you are able to see on the screen. We have to create the address, that is location, for the business units. Then we have to create the reference data set, and when you will create the business unit, at that time you have to associate your location and reference data set at the time of creation of business unit. Then we will decide what are the functions that this business unit can perform. For that we have to use the task, that is assign business unit function to business unit. Now we will directly move to our application and we will start creating the location for business unit in the application. So in the application we are logging with the one of the existing user, that is Casey Brown. For creating the location for the business unit, you have to go to the setup and maintenance here. In the setup area, you have to select it as financials, and under the financials you can see the payables here. So here you can find the setups related to the accounts payable module. For creating the business location for business unit, you have to go to the organization structures, and here you can find all the tasks which are related to the business unit. So we need to create the location for these business unit. For that we will search for the task, that is manage location. This is the task, that is manage location. You can also find this task under the enterprise profile. Also you can search it from the search task. Now click on this task. Here you can see that there is a create icon. Click on it for creating new business unit. Here you have to give the reference data set, and here you have to give the name of this location. Now here you have to select the country. Take country as India. Click on search here and then search for India here. select the state here. So this Bhopal city is under Madhya Pradesh state. Click on OK. So this is the main address detail for this business unit. There are other information that you can fill out as per your business requirement. So I have filled out all the mandatory details that are required to create the location. You can provide the legal entity name here, that is legal employer. Here you can provide the land registry reference. So as per your client's requirement, you can fill out the other details too. I have filled the details as per my client's requirement, and now you have to click on this submit icon. Click on yes. Again click on create icon, and now we will create the location for our US business unit. Now we will fill the main address detail, and here by default the country which is selecting by the application is United States. Now fill out the address line details. When you will give the zip code for the state of the United States, then the rest of the details will be picked by the company automatically. And here also we have filled out the main address details that was required for creating the business unit location. So now we are good to click on submit. Click on yes. So we have created two locations. One is for Bhopal business unit, and the other one is for the business unit that is in the New York. Now click on done. Our next task is that we have to create the reference data set. So search here for the task that is manage reference data set. You can see here the tasks. If you want to select this task from the enterprise profile, then you have to select the functional area as enterprise profile. Under that you can find the task that is manage reference data set. Click on this task. Now for creating new reference data set, you have to click on this create icon. location here. Now click on save and close. So this is the reference data set created by us. Now click on save and close here. Our next task is we have to create the business unit, and at the time of creation of business unit we have to associate the location that we have created and the reference data set that we have created. For creating the business unit, you can search from this search task. The task name is manage business unit. Else you can go to the functional area, that is organization structures. Here you can find the first task, that is manage business unit. Click on it. Click on this create icon, as we need to create new business unit for Aeronet Group. Give the name of your business unit here. And here you can see that you have to associate the location that you have created for the Bhopal business unit. Click on search. And this is the business unit location that we have created. Select this data and click on OK. And here you have to give the default set. Click on search. Also you can select the common reference data set here, that is provided by the Oracle, or you can create your own reference data set. Click on OK here. In the same way we will create the business unit for US location. Associate the location that you have created for the New York this is the location that we have created for New York location. Again, associate your reference data set. We have created locations for both the places from where this Aeronet group is operating its business. Then we created two business units for both the locations, and now our next task is that we have to decide which business unit can perform which functions. Now this is the task, that is assign business unit business function, and in the scope you have to select your business unit that you have created. Now click on select and add, and then go to apply and go to task. Here search for the business unit that you have created. Now select this business unit and then click on save and close. This is how you have to select the scope. In the scope you have to select your business unit. Now these are the functions that you can perform with this business unit function: billing and revenue management, collection management, customer contract management, customer payments. These are the functions that are related to our receivable module. Let's select this business unit that it should perform all the functions. So enable all the checkboxes here. You can see here this is material management, payables, invoicing, payables, payment, procurement, that are related to the purchase order details. So let's enable all the checkboxes. And now you have to select here your primary ledger, and the default legal entity which is associated with this primary ledger will be automatically taken by the application. So we are configuring this for our India business unit. So let's take the PL which is created for the India purpose. Now click on save and close. Again go to the assign business unit function, and in the scope you have to select your US business unit. Let's create primary ledger for the US location. Select the chart of accounts, then select the calendar here. Select the currency as USD. Select the accounting method here, then click on save and close. Now we have created the primary ledger for US location, and we have to assign the legal entity to the ledger. Search for legal entity here. Let's see whether the legal entity for US location has been created or not. So the legal entity is not created for US location. Let's create one. In the legal entity, that means in the scope, you have to select it as create new and then apply and go to task. Click on add icon here. Select the country as United States. Click on save and close. So we have created the legal entity for US location. Now we have to assign this legal entity to our primary ledger. Then only in the default legal entity field, it will automatically take the legal entity that we are associating with the primary ledger. Go to general ledger and here you have to search for the task assign legal entity. This is the task that is assign legal entities, and in the scope search for the primary ledger that you have created for US location. Click on apply and go to task and select and add. Here you have to associate the legal entity with this primary ledger. So this is the legal entity. Click on apply and then click on done. Click on save and close. Again go to organization structure and let's continue with the assign business unit business function. Now you can see the primary ledger that we created for the US location, and by default you can see the legal entity that we have assigned to this primary ledger has taken by the system automatically. Now let's enable this business unit for all the functions. You can perform all the tasks with this business unit. So account payable module is the module that works or operates at the level of business unit. While creating or configuring the setup for the general ledger module, in our previous series of webinar we have seen that general ledger module is the module that works or operates at the basis of ledger level, but AP is the module that works at the business unit level. So till now we have seen how to create the location, how to create the reference data set, how to create the business unit, and how to assign the business unit functions to the business unit. Now we will create the ledgers data group and then we will assign that LDG to legal entity. Now for creating the LDG, you have to change the setup area to compensation management, and here you have to find the task that is legislative data group. You can see on the screen the task is manage legislative data group. Click on it. And for creating the new legislative data group, you have to click on this create icon. Select the country here. Automatically the system has taken the currency of India here. Now click on submit. In the same manner you have to create the legislative data group for USA. Again click on this create icon. Select the country here, United States. Click on search. Select the country here and then click on OK. And here also you can see by the time we clicked on this United States, system has taken the currency that is applicable for the United States of America. Click on submit here now. Then click on yes. Our next task is assign legislative data group to legal entity. For this we have different tasks, that is legal entity HCM information. Search for it for here. So this is the task, that is manage legal entity HCM information. Here we have to associate our legal entity to our LDG. Click on save and close here. Then click on edit. Then click on update. Here it will ask for effective start date. By default it is taking 1st January 2001. Let's click on OK. And then go to the payroll statutory unit tab. Now here you have to associate your LDG group. Click on search here. this is the LDG that we have created now. Click on OK. And fiscal year start date is 1st April 2022. Click on submit. Click on done. So to Indian LE we have associated our LDG. Now we have to associate the LDG to the US LE. This is our US legal entity. Now click on save and close. Click on edit, then update, select the effective start date, and then again go to the payroll statutory unit. Here you have to associate your legislative data group. This is the LDG that we have created for our US location. Click on OK. Give the fiscal start date here. Let's take it 1st January 2022. Let's take it April 1st 2022. And now click on submit. Click on OK. Now let's move to our next task. So till now we have seen the configurations that were related to the business unit. Then we have created the latest data group, and then we assigned the latest data group to legal entity. Now our next task is to create employee user. So we will create two users. One is for US location and one is for Indian location. So we have to create the employee user. For that, while configuring the GL setups in the application, we have seen how to create the user. But for creating the employee user, we have to go to the task that is manage user. From security console you can only create the user, but for creating the employee user you have to go to the task that is manage user. Change the setup area as financials. Then you can search for the task manage user in the search task field. You can see the task here. It falls under the user and security functional area. Click on this task. From this page you can create the employee user. For creating that you have to click on this create icon. So here you have two options. Either you can create the user with this enter username, or you can create the user from the security console and provide the roles to that user from the security console, and then you can link that user by clicking on this checkbox that is link user account. So I am creating the new user for it. So system is taking by default today's hiring date. In the person type, you have to select the employee here. In this way you can create the employee user. When you will select the person type as employee, you have to give the legal employee detail and business unit detail. So I am creating this Jatin02 for our US location. This is the legal entity that we have created for our US location. Now select the business unit that we have created for the US location, that is ANNY USA. So this is the business unit that we have created for our USA location. Now click on save and close. Now we will create the employee user for Indian location business unit. So system has taken the hiring date as today's date. Now here you have to give the username, let's take person type as employee. Now when I will create the employee user for Indian LDG, then system will throw some error because there is some bug in the application itself. You have seen that while creating the employee user for US location, system didn't created any issue, but when you will create the user for the Indian location, that is employee user for the Indian location, then system will throw some error because there is some bug, and we will resolve that. There is a way out to create the user for the Indian location. Search for the Indian legal entity. Click on OK. Then select the business unit that we have created for India. Now click on save and close. see here that we have created this employee user for Indian location. It is successfully submitted, but you are not able to find in the search option. Now when I am searching for the user that I have created for the US location, you can see here on the screen that this is a user that we have created for our US location, but we are not able to find Nancy02 because this Nancy02 is operating for Indian location and there is some bug in the LDG for India. Now how to resolve it? Go to the compensation management and search here for the task that is managed element. Click on this task, elements here. Click on search. Statutory deduction, and then click on element eligibility, then click on edit and correct. Go to actions and then click on create element eligibility. Click on OK. Give the name here and then select the payroll statutory unit, that is ANLE India. Click on submit and then click on done. Again click on done. So this is the solution when you are creating the user for the Indian location, but it is not allowing you to create the one. Now again we will try to create the user, employee user for the Indian location. Take the person type as employee and then below you have to provide the legal entity detail. Click on save and close. Now you can see that when we configure that setup, that is manage element for our LDG, that is Indian LDG, now you are able to see the user that we have created for the Indian location. So you, while creating the LDG for India, you have to keep in mind that you have to first configure the manage element task for this purpose. Now click on done. So we have created employee user successfully. Now we have to assign the implementation consultant roles for AP to that user. Go to security console. Edit. Now here you can see the business unit for which we have created this user. Now here we will provide this user the roles related to the AP. Click on add roles. So what are the roles that you need to provide to the user to have access to the AP setups? You have to provide the accounts payable manager role, accounts payable specialist role, accounts payable supervisor role, and then accounts payable invoice supervisor. When you provide accounts payable manager, it allows the user to manage the account payable department and personnel. It overrides the exceptions, analyzes the Oracle Fusion payables, balances, and submit income tax and withholding reports to meet regulatory requirements. And when you provide the account payable specialist, it allows the user to enter invoices, ensuring its accuracy, uniqueness, and completeness. It matches the invoices to correct purchase order or receive insurance that invoices comply with company policy. And when you give the accounts payable supervisor role to the user, it allows the user to oversee the activity of account payable specialist, initiates and manages pay runs, resolves non-data entry holds. And when you provide the account payable invoice supervisor, it allows the user, and this user should be individually responsible for creating account payable invoices. Now we will go to our application and provide all these 4 rows to our user. Always select the role with the ORA code. Never select the copy roles. The roles that are starting with the ORA code should be selected while providing the roles to the user. Click on done. So we have provided all 4 roles to this user, which is operating for US location, and now we will provide the same roles to the user who is operating for the US location, for Indian location. Now search for the Hemant02, to which we have given the access to the Indian view. Click on this username. Now click on edit, and now here you can see the business unit which is appearing as A and BPL India, and provide the same roles to the that we have provided to the Jatin02, the roles which are related to the accounts payable module. So to this user also we have provided all 4 roles. Now we can click on save and close. Now click on done. Let's reset the password for this user too. Now we will provide the data access to these users at business unit level. For that we have to go to the setup and maintenance page. Search for the task that is manage data access for users. Now here you can see the list of roles that we have provided to this user. Select this, and in the security context select business unit. You can see here that for this role you have to provide the data access at only business unit level. As I told you earlier also that AP is the module that works on the business unit level. So we have provided the data access to Jatin02, which is we have created for the US business unit. Now we will give the data access to Haven02 for Indian location business unit. And this is the role list that we have provided to him. Here you have to select the business unit that we have created for India. We have provided the data access to these users. Let's try to log in with one of these users. This is the user that we have created, and we have provided this user the rows which are related to the AP module, and you can see here he have access to the Payables module only. And the notifications, you can see all the notifications which are there for this user. Let's try to log out. Let's try to log in with the user Heyman02, to whom we have given access to the Indian business unit. The roles that we have provided to this user is not synced yet. Click on confirm, and then let's try to log in with the implementation user. let's try to run the LTAP. So this process is already going on. Let's click on refresh. Let's log out and try to log in with the Heyman02. Now you can see that the rows that we have given to this user is synchronized, and now you can see the Payable infolet as well on the screen. So in today's webinar we have seen how to configure the business unit in the application. Then we have seen how to create the LDG and how to assign that LDG to the LE. Then we have discussed how to create the employee user in the application and what are the roles that you have to provide to that users, and how to provide the data access to users at business unit level. So we will stop today's webinar at this only, and tomorrow we will continue with rest of the topics that we need to configure in the application. Thank you so much for joining today's session.